All right, so let's keep this pretty compressed. Thank you and good morning, Hall of Fame committee, members, inductees, fellow wrestlers, families, and friends. When Coach Dave Ryan asked me to speak at this event, I was truly honored. And of course, I said yes. You don't get these opportunities too often to talk about a person that you feel so that you cherish so much. He proceeded by telling me, "This is not a roast race, so keep it PG." So I will try to honor your request, Coach. I will try. I do got 5 minutes. I'm very thankful that Coach gave me the opportunity to express my gratitude and share with all of you the type of man Dave Ryan has always been. Now, I know I only have a few minutes, so let me start by expressing some key attributes that are synonymous with Coach Ryan. Committed, dedicated, caring, and above all else, a person of integrity. There are just a few words that I can describe who Coach Ryan is, but Coach is more than just words. His story is about people and wrestlers that have been blessed to be mentored by him. I'm truly happy to stand in front of all of you this morning and say that I'm one of those blessed wrestlers. I met Coach Ryan in 1987, my freshman year at Miami Springs Senior High School. Go Hawks. I was walking down the hallway to my drafting class, and there stood a man, a much younger man, selling donuts to raise money for the school's wrestling team. Yeah. I was feeling kind of down for not making the varsity baseball team, so I purchased 2 donuts before my class, and when the man gave me my change, he surprisingly asked me, "How much do you weigh?" I responded, 160 pounds, with half-eaten donut coming out of my mouth. He then said, "There's wrestling practice this afternoon, and you should show up and give it a try." That is the day my friendship started with Coach Ryan, and my life changed forever. I started 4 years for Miami Springs wrestling team, winning multiple district titles, a GMAC championship, and third place finish in the state tournament my senior year. None of my successes would have been possible without Coach Ryan's commitment to the sport of wrestling and his wrestlers. And at this time, I also want to acknowledge Coach Saunders for also being his great assistant. Thank you, Coach. I still remember those drills, sir. Even though the regular season would come to an end, his dedication continued during the off-season when he traveled to freestyle and Greco-Roman tournaments throughout the state. I think someone said yesterday, didn't matter. Coach Ryan was at every single tournament. Coach Ryan would use his own money and gas up his van and drive a handful of wrestlers to the most competitive events in the state. And if you think Florida is hot, just ride in Coach Ryan's van. So I gained so much experience watching the best wrestlers from around the country compete at these tournaments. Though I didn't always achieve success, these tournaments really opened my eyes to the sacrifice that was truly needed to reach the next level in my wrestling career. Coach Ryan knew this. He knew that by exposing his wrestlers to the highest level of competition, we would grow up as wrestlers and humble human beings. All my sacrifices and hard work paid off when I earned a wrestling scholarship to Wilkes University in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. At the time, Wilkes University had an NCAA Division I wrestling program, and I competed and faced with the best in the country. The Wilkes wrestling team's motto is, "Victory goes to those that are willing to pay the price." A mentality that was already engraved in me by Coach Ryan. I started 4 years for the Wilkes wrestling team, winning Freshman of the Year honors, becoming the captain of the team my senior year. And I'm lucky to say that my coach in college was John G. Reese, which is one of the winningest coaches in NCAA history. So not only am I proud to say that my college coach, my high school coach is going into the Hall of Fame, but also my college coach is also in the Hall of Fame. So very honored about that. You know, I started 4 years with Wilkes, but the biggest accomplishment for me, without a doubt, was graduating with a bachelor's degree, communication, the first in my family to ever attain this level of education. I thank you, Coach, for sending me to school and being able to do that. Coach Johnson, I thank you also. Thank you for being there for me. After graduating from college, I came back home to Miami and was hired by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. For the first 20 years, I've been honorably serving this country in the war against illicit drugs and smuggling and terrorism. The lessons I've learned through my wrestling experiences have had a positive influence in the way I perform and carry myself throughout my career. That's what wrestling does to young men. It really makes them really good human beings. Hopefully, that's something that we could continue to do so in teaching our children as well. I conclude by quoting Cliff Keen, one of the famous wrestling coaches, University of Michigan, one of the initial inductees of the National Hall of Fame. He said, "From self-discipline stems self-confidence and belief in oneself. What greater lesson can a sport or a coach impart on someone?" Thank you, Coach, for introducing me to the sport of wrestling and being the person that taught me and many others to believe in oneself. You have positively impacted so many people throughout your lifetime, and I can say that many of us in this room feel proud that we are able to be a small part of that life. This is a truly well-deserved honor and a recognition that we all are happy and thankful to be a part of. Thank you, Coach Ryan, and congratulations on being named the National Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm honored and privileged to stand here to talk about Coach Ryan. I didn't bring any notes, I didn't write any speech, because this is what I do. When I talk about Coach Ryan, you have to understand that this gentleman that you're looking at today, that's before you, was a little boy that society said that would never amount up to be anything. This little boy that you're looking at today lost his mother at the age of 15, was diagnosed with a learning disability, was told was not college material. This little boy that you're looking at today, who has matriculated into a man, is here only because of great people. And there was an old saying that says, it takes a village to raise a child. Now, you got to understand my story, because I come from a place of struggle that was beyond none other. You're talking about days where I didn't have food, lost my mother at the age of 15, the absence of a father. And so when I met Coach Ryan, my 8th grade year, when he used to come to Miami Springs to help out with the middle school wrestling team, it was at first sight I fell in love with Coach, because he had the heart of a father. And I was missing that. I didn't have that in my life. And so as I went to high school, I was a football player, and Coach Saunders coached me as well. And so I was thinking I didn't want to wrestle, but I stayed at school, because I knew if I stayed at school, I was going to get some food. Coach was going to take me home, and on the way home in that hot van, he would stop by and pick up some food before he dropped me off in the inner city of Liberty City. And so I stand here to say, Coach, that you are my hero, because there were times where we had conversations long after I left Miami Springs and I had graduated with a special diploma. And if you know anything about a special diploma, you know a special diploma, you can't get into any university. And so this little ESC kid, 160 pounds, a long time ago, stands at the hopes of getting in college. No money, no formal education, because I didn't pass a HECT, none of that. And the one thing Coach told me, he said, you have to fight for everything you want. And I remember, because I used to wake up and I used to go to practice, and Coach always said, you got to give it more, you got to give it more. And I could never understand what he was saying. And I remember losing in state. And what that did, that birthed something out of me, because what Coach told me was this. He said, in life, sometimes you don't get second chances. And what I'm trying to get you to understand is that in state, I didn't get a second chance. But what Coach instilled in me was that if you give it everything you have, if you work hard every single day, You can be successful. And that's what I did. After I lost state, people told me I wouldn't be able to go to college. I wouldn't pass the GED. I wouldn't do any of these things. And guess what? Those words that Coach Ryan rung in my head by saying, sometimes it takes the extra work, the extra sprint, the extra push-up. And believe it or not, when I went to Tallahassee from Miami with no family, lost my mother, no family support, no father, those words stuck with me. And I remember working 2 jobs at Wendy's and Sodexo, sweeping the floors, trying to prepare for this GED test so I can walk on to FAMU's football team. Those words that Coach Ryan wrong to me said, never give up, always work hard. And those were the words that stuck with me. And I stand here today to tell you that I passed that GED. I walked on to FAMU football team and earned the scholarship. I wrestled at FAMU, all because of those words that Coach Ryan spoke to me. And so, Coach, if you didn't know, you are my hero. I started my own business because of what you instilled in me to say, keep working hard and never give up. And so after 20 years later, you still remain in my life. And I'm so grateful and I'm so humble for you. And you are the coach that we need, and everybody should want to be like you. Thank you for sending me to Ohio. Thank you for sending me the first time ever out of the Liberty City. It was you, Coach, that put me on the plane and sent me away. Thank you so much, Coach. I love you.